Is eating after 7 p.m. inherently bad for your health? That concept has been around for a while, but how much truth does that hold? Is there really a bad time to eat when it comes to your health? Let's talk about it. If all that sounds good to you, let's go. Hi folks, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a licensed and registered dietitian nutritionist, and on this channel I like to talk about weight inclusive and weight neutral focused approaches to health, as well as diving into scammy and, in my opinion, unethical nutrition related businesses, products, mostly nutrition related MLMs, and other fear mongering nutrition related claims. Now let's just get into today's myth, which is that eating after 7 p.m. or insert any random time is bad for you. It's often linked to the idea that our metabolism slows down after that time, leading to the belief that food consumed after that time is processed differently. The thing is, our metabolism doesn't stop working. It doesn't shut off. Even when we're in a fasted state, just from the time that the person is asleep, there are various ways that our metabolism is at play. When we're asleep, our body is busy repairing cells, digesting food, and a whole host of other critical functions. This continued activity means that our body is using energy. It's still expending energy, though at a different rate compared to our awake hours. Now, there are some reasons why someone might want to consider giving their bodies several hours to digest before going to bed, specifically if you're finding that it is affecting or negatively impacting their sleep in any way. For example, someone who eats too close to when they go to sleep might find that they have additional reflux. Now, this might be for a variety of underlying reasons. There are many different approaches to that. But when we're talking about dietary recommendations and the plan of care, one of the considerations might be for smaller meals, maybe a little bit more often, and maybe the avoidance of tomato-based kind of foods, similar foods, spicy foods, things that might increase that reflux, especially in the later hours. Just as an example, because good sleep is essential for well-being overall. It affects our mood, our energy levels, even our hunger hormones. It can really impact the following day. And poor sleep is typically more aligned with the making of choices that aren't so much aligned to our overall well-being. So for some, it makes sense to give their bodies a little bit more time to digest before heading to bed in order to reduce any kind of sleep disturbances. Another reason that I see for the promotion of not eating, let's say for the example, not eating after 7, is to support a healthy digestive microbiome, which is the beneficial bacteria that lives in our digestive tract. The reason for this is because they're alive with circadian rhythms, and the theory or idea is about supporting them and helping them to kind of get a break. Some studies suggest that eating in alignment with our circadian rhythms, which typically recommends refraining from eating in the late night period, can be beneficial, but it is inconclusive and is not able to be consistently replicated. And there is a debate as to whether it is the break on its own or if it is a removal or reduction in certain foods that might typically be eaten in that time frame. The food that is being eaten after 7, after dinner time, that can make a difference in how that person is feeling, how their energy levels are, how their digestion is. Someone might not feel as well if they're choosing foods that don't really help them to feel the best, or if they find that they're kind of on this binge restrict cycle where they have a lot of restriction throughout the rest of the day, and if they find themselves with consumption that feels a little bit out of control in the evening time. So it's not this kind of clear black or white kind of thing, not this dichotomous thing, which is not unheard of, pretty normal in the world of nutritional science. So you might be asking, well, what do I do? What's the solution? What are my recommendations? It is not about imposing these strict kind of curfews for when to stop eating. If you are finding yourself hungry after dinner, for example, it's worth asking yourself a few questions, asking or reflecting on if you ate enough throughout that day, if you ate enough at dinner time, if you need a little bit more sweetness in order to balance out a really savory meal, or it could be related to emotional eating, which we have recently talked about on this channel. If you do find yourself hungry in the evening time after 7 p.m., for example, I really do encourage you to have a snack that's going to be satisfying and nourishing and enjoyable. So for me, sometimes that looks like having peanut butter or almond butter with an apple, or having a cheese stick with some carrots, or drinking cinnamon tea or spearmint tea, or just having whatever food that I am craving in that time and bringing myself to it, being my mindful about it, being just present. Remember, our nutritional needs are unique and can vary based on our lifestyle. It's also worth noting that someone with a later shift, someone with an overnight shift, they would need a much different kind of schedule when it comes to their meals and their snacks in comparison to someone who has maybe their evenings in a more like relaxed kind of manner. Now, this kind of gets into intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting has become a lot more popular in the last several years. There are potential positives to it and also some drawbacks. Again, it is never this all or nothing kind of dichotomous thing. On one hand, for some people, they have found that intermittent fasting has helped with regulation or support of a healthy blood sugar level, as well as improved digestion and increased like even mental capacity for some. Those benefits though can vary person to person. On the critical side, intermittent fasting, the sustainability of it and the broader health impacts are of concern to some people. It may not be suitable for everyone. It's not that it even may not be suitable for everyone. It's not suitable for everyone. Definitely not what I would recommend if somebody has a history of disordered eating, or who is pregnant or chest feeding, or if somebody's feeling like they're like just preoccupied with their food and eating schedule. If it is disrupting overall like social habits or like overall lifestyle in a negative way. For those assigned female at birth, going long times without eating, typically not supportive of hormonal health. Some find that intermittent fasting helps with the approach of being more mindful around eating. Others find it as a contributing factor to an unhealthy relationship with food. There's also a risk of potential nutrition imbalance, specifically like micronutrients. If you have restricted windows and if someone is only eating like once or 2 times a day, they might find that it's a lot harder to get a variety of nutrients in that their bodies need, especially over time. Looking at the perceived benefits and also the potential downsides of intermittent fasting is something that I encourage people to do whenever they do come to me asking questions about if it's something that I would recommend them to do. Some people find that it is a suitable and sustainable thing for them. For me, it's not. The idea that eating after 7 p.m. that it is bad for your health is oversimplified. What matters more is the overall intake throughout the day. And it's also important to note that the benefits that some people have received from something like intermittent fasting, we can also see benefits from an intentional kind of approach. There are various ways that can help support physical health if that is something that is a goal or a desire of yours. And just know that like stopping eating at a certain time, having those kind of fasted windows, that is not necessary for improvements in some of those like benefits that are often talked about with intermittent fasting. Like with blood sugar level and stuff, there's so much that we can do without having that kind of limitation to help support blood sugar levels. Just as an example, if you are genuinely hungry at night, I really encourage you to have a snack. Like that is okay. That actually might be helpful for getting a better night's sleep. Just like those examples that I had mentioned before, having some kind of carbohydrate paired with some kind of protein or fat, those are really helpful for building snacks that are nourishing and also satisfying. In summary, the idea of whether you should stop at 7 p.m. in order to improve your health, it really depends on your individual needs and your lifestyle, but it's certainly always a good idea to consult with your healthcare provider, your doctor, or registered dietitian for more personalized advice. If there's one thing that I could have just everyone take away when they're looking into what they should do like nutrition wise, there is never like an all or nothing kind of thing. All right, that wraps it up for this video. Please leave a like and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Keep an eye on the next video in this series, and remember, you can strive for health without subscribing to diet culture. I'll see you later. Bye.